Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Toxic Rewatch of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Today we're talking about Consequences, part of the two-parter in which we start to see the fall from grace of Faith. Doing this one solo real quick just to kind of knock it out, because although I've spoke the praises of season 3 for quite some time, and I do mean it, it's a situation where this one is very plot heavy and it doesn't do a lot for the overarching narrative of the story. And I'll get into that here in just a second. So, for the uninitiated, in the previous episode, which I don't know why you wouldn't already know this, Faith accidentally killed the deputy mayor. Whether the deputy mayor was part of what was going on in that episode where they were fighting the blubbery demon that had the sword carrying vampire cadre or something like that, I don't know, but I do know it was on the way to that battle where they were taking out vampires in a tight alley one by one, kind of go in tandem, and then the deputy mayor popped out in the shadows and Faith was off her mark and accidentally stabbed him in the heart. So once that's done, some of the consequences of what happens with a Slayer when she does something along those lines. Do they get arrested? Do they get judged by the council? Is there some sort of Slayer justice? You know, it's kind of an old superhero narrative. Like if you have a superhero and they're above other people because of their power and their status, who watches the Watchmen type of thing. And it made worse with the fact that Faith kind of had a blasé response to it with the whole, I don't care, I weighted the body, I dumped it out. Some of this stuff is delved into a little bit deeper in the novelization of these episodes, which does some side stories in Faith. It's not bad. It's a pocketbook read. Came out around the same time as the episode. I like it. I like Faith as a character. She's very complicated. You know, she's more of a working class, unorthodox Slayer than Buffy, and she does things a lot differently. The dark Slayer, so to speak. And I think what happens to her and the way in which it happens is a lot better than, like, say, Darth Vader's downfall or something like that. But throughout the episode, it gets a little pedantic. Should she have done this? Did it, why did it go wrong? How come it wasn't Buffy? Yada, yada, yada. Buffy wants to tell, Faith wants to hide it. They have a little version of the trolley problem argument in which she says, well, we've saved a bunch of lives, but, I don't see why this one should matter. This will come up again and again in the show, but, this is one of the first major instances of it. Buffy, of course, is like, no, it's wrong. And if you remember back to the episode of Ted, whether Buffy meant to or not, it's still unclear, but Buffy effectively killed Ted. The fact that he was a robot doesn't really change anything. Her intent was she thought he was a regular person and she went after him. What followed is the fact that, he was the monster of the week and he was a robot and yada, yada, yada. And, we know how that ended up. The big difference being, and it's been pointed out by other YouTubers, including Passion of the Nerd, is the fact that Buffy owned up to it. Even when her mom was actually going to cover for her and say, hey, he fell down the stairs. It was just like a total accident. But we get the detectives coming in here, and I think it is the same detective from that Ted episode, but I wouldn't want you to hold me to it because I can't guarantee. Both Buffy and Faith kind of just deny it. Some people try to reach out to Faith, including Xander, who had hooked up with her a couple episodes previous, and instead she actually gets ready like she's going to kill Xander. Some side stuff. Wesley meets Cordelia for the first time. It's gross, whatever. And Mayor Wilkins is going to utilize the situation to the best of, because he knows that it's Slayers from the security camera. Now, at this point, the Slayers know that the mayor is the big bad of the season, but what's worse is that the mayor has this kind of leverage on them. So Angel manages to grab Faith, lock her up in the same chains I presume that he was locked up with when he was still feral, and he tries to kind of reach out to her. This will be addressed again next season on his show in a really great two-parter, but I don't want to read too far ahead. And he just basically gives her, the consequences of evil. Like, this is the thing that's got to have to happen in order for you to, come back towards the light, so to speak.
Yeah. Sounds like you need some help. A professional, maybe.
Professional couldn't have helped me.
So he's giving her the talk of, hey, I was a vampire. I like to kill, I like to do all this kind of stuff. I didn't have a soul. You do have a soul. So you have some agency to not do these kind of things. And of course, she's not having it, but he does, throughout the course of this, seem almost like he is getting through to her. A lot of it, though, I don't know, man. I got to tell you, it's just done to much better in Angel in the next season. And I like it, so much better for that reason. Unfortunately, like many things, Shakespearean tragedy wise, Angel thinks that he's getting through to her. He's getting as far as he can, and then, chaos ensues.
By the order of the Watchers' Council of Britain, I'm exercising my authority and removing you to England when you will accept the judgment of the disciplinary committee.
So this is an instance, an early one, of we see Wesley getting in the way and doing what he thinks is right, not doing what the group would do. He didn't obviously consult anybody. He went behind Giles's back, against the Scooby Gang's back, and he decided to act in such a manner that he thought was correct. This will be something that happens again, and with far, far more devastating consequences later on the Angel show. Of course, Faith is captured, but she is a super being, and just because you grab a super being doesn't mean that you can effectively hold on to them.
Whatever.
Please believe, nobody is rushing to judgment. The first priority of both myself and the council is to help you. No, none of that. Tighten her restraints. Faith, there's no point in fighting this.
I have to disagree with you on that one. Now unlock these or I'll pop this guy's head like a grape.
Yeah, that's the problem when you've got a superpowered bad guy. You can't treat them with the same kind of, kid gloves that you would somebody else, because, something bad's going to happen.
Faith, you can't keep running.
Run again, Wes.
So she does in fact run, but she gets as far as the docks, and then Mr. Trick and a gang come after him. Buffy tries to help. Buffy almost gets killed. Faith saves her, and that gives her some sort of modicum of good grace with the council, and they decide to go ahead and reinstate her and use her in the further war against Stark. Again, it's not a bad episode. I don't have any real specific issue with it. It's a plot heavy episode that's got to happen, but for my money, we can do better. On to the next one, Doppelgangland, which I dearly, dearly love, and I'll have my faithful crew back with me, hopefully all of them. But until then, thanks for joining me, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Buffy content and some cool other shit. And I'll see you next week for Doppelgangland.
Previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
You are the Slayer. Into each generation, a Slayer is born.
Why don't we start with, hi, I'm Buffy.
Xander.
Cordelia. Willow, right?
Mr. Giles.
Angel.